Well, welcome to another lesson of the Focus on Agility CMS course. I am Marcelo Lewin, the Headless Creator. As always, get a hold of me right there, Marcelo at headlesscreator.com. Today, my guest presenter is Joshua Isaac. He's a solution architect at Agility CMS, and he's actually back to show us how to enhance the authoring experience using custom apps. And then without further ado, let's just bring him in.
Hello,
Hello.
how's it going?
Welcome back.
Thank you.
How are you today?
Not too bad, not too bad. How about yourself?
I think it's great. We're almost at Friday, so we're
Yeah,
almost there, which is
Friday.
always good, right? It's
Yeah,
always
yeah.
good. Now,
Friday
you're
Junior.
in Ontario, right?
I am.
In Ontario, Canada. Now, you've told us a little bit about you on the previous lesson, which was what was the previous lesson about? Maybe to remind the audience.
The previous lesson was building component-driven pages using page modules and page templates in Agility.
There you go. So definitely look it up. Had a good conversation with him there. Today, since we already know about how you got into technology and everything, had a little conversation with you, and you told me number one, you love to eat, which is I love to eat, but number two, you also cook. Now I don't
Yeah,
cook.
yeah.
I
I
only
eat,
wash
I eat more
dishes.
than I
That's it.
cook, but
Do
yeah,
you?
I do enjoy cooking as well. Yeah.
Okay. Well, what do you enjoy cooking the most?
Anything from like chicken wings to potato salad, pizza. I have a pizza oven in my backyard, so
Okay, I love potato salad. How do you make your potato salad? I gotta know.
you got to put a little bit of mustard in there. That's key.
No, mustard is yeah, and mayo,
Mustard is
right?
key. Yeah, mustard, mayo. Your peas, your carrots.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah. I
okay,
like to
peas,
like.
carrots. So you do a
Yeah,
very like traditional, like my mom
yeah,
used to do.
yeah,
Peas,
yeah.
carrots, the
The
potato,
potatoes. Yeah.
no onions, no onions.
Sometimes you could throw a couple, some red onions in there, but if you're not a fan of
Oh yeah.
onions, you could skip out on
I
that.
love onions, but not in potato salad. For some reason, it doesn't work for me.
Doesn't
But
work for you? All right.
definitely the yeah, the mustard. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. And what's a other dish you like to cook?
Like I mentioned before, I have a pizza oven in my backyard, so in the summer we enjoy cooking pizzas back there.
Oh, I've
Yeah,
seen one of those. I
yeah,
want to get one of those actually.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. They're
yeah, yeah,
pretty
yeah.
cool.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. All right, now I'm hungry, so I'm thinking of stopping the stream and going to have my breakfast, but maybe not. Anyway, Joshua, we can see your slides there. For those of you watching live, again, please don't go eat now. I know you're hungry, but don't go eat now. Stick around because this is going to be a great presentation. But if you have any questions, put them in the chat, and I'll ask Joshua. Joshua, I'm going to let you take over.
Cool. Thank you, Marcelo. So yeah, today we're going to be talking about how we can enhance the authoring experience using custom apps in Agility CMS. So here's our agenda today. We'll be talking about what custom apps are, how you can build your own custom apps, how the custom apps work behind the scenes, some first-party custom apps that Agility CMS supports. We'll also dive into how you can register and install your own custom app in the content management system, as well as doing a quick code walkthrough and custom app demo. So first up, let's talk about what custom apps are. Now, custom apps allow you to extend the user interface of the content management system by building out your own integrations that your editors and marketing team can use. An app can be designed to interface Agility with any external or third-party system or API to simplify some of your business processes. You have full control over what these custom apps can do, and they can range from a simple customizable input field to a full-fledged UI integration with some other platforms such as a digital asset manager like Cloudinary, a form provider like HubSpot, or even a video hosting platform like YouTube or Vimeo. At this time in Agility CMS, custom apps are limited to providing one or more custom fields that can be added to your content models as well as page modules. Now let's talk about how you can build your own custom app. So Agility does provide a robust yet easy to use JavaScript SDK that is there to help developers build custom apps for their users, their editors, and their marketing teams. With the App SDK, you can easily integrate Agility with any third-party system or API. So as long as that system has an API, you'll be able to call the API and retrieve that data and store it into your content management system. So some of the key features that the custom app JavaScript SDK includes are building custom UIs that can be shown within the Agility CMS. There is a secure iframe communication between the content management system and your app. You have the ability to define one or more custom fields as well as flyout actions. And it supports modern frameworks such as React, Vue, as well as the support for building vanilla JavaScript apps if that's your jam.
Quick question for you.
Yeah.
Do you guys offer also a design system so the app matches the look and feel of Agility itself, or are they able to basically make it look however they want?
Yeah, that's a good question. So at the moment, we do provide a CSS file that has some styles to make it similar to the content management system. However, we are working on a component library and design system so that everything can be more cohesive and together with the content management system itself.
Right, right.
Yeah,
That makes sense. So it's easier for the author and they feel
Ex
like they're in one system. Yep.
exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Excellent. Cool. Thank you.
Next up, let's talk about how custom apps work. So the app SDK facilitates a communication layer between Agility CMS and a single page application that will be loaded in an iframe. Using the custom app SDK allows you to easily integrate the CMS with JavaScript. And at this time, only custom fields and flyout actions are supported. However, there are plans to introduce some new UI locations in the near future, such as some sidebar components, which would be a really neat feature. So here are a handful of first-party custom apps that Agility supports. So here you can see we have HubSpot that will easily allow you to add forms to your content and landing pages. FormStack is another form provider that also allows you to add forms to your landing pages and your contents. Cloudinary is a digital asset manager, and you're able to select and associate your Cloudinary images and videos with content in Agility, as well as Salesforce, which is also can be used as a form provider to help convert and generate more leads on your landing pages. Again, these are just a handful of apps that we currently support, and we're always looking for new app ideas and new integrations. So if you guys have any ideas or any apps you would like to see Agility integrate with, feel free to reach out and we can make something happen. Next up, let's talk about how we register custom apps in Agility. So as an administrator of an organization in Agility, you can register custom apps in your organization dashboard. And when you're registering an app, you are required to provide some details about the application itself, such as the name of the application, a URL, which is the publicly accessible URL that your app is located on. And this is something that can be deployed to a hosting solution like Vercel, Netlify, or even AWS or Azure. You also are required to add a description of what your app does, and you have the option to add an optional icon for your app. If you are not the administrator of an organization, but you would still like to register a custom app, you can do that. However, you will be required to send a authorization URL to one of your admins so they can register it on your behalf, but you'll be able to configure the custom app. And once you have your custom app registered in your organization, you can then proceed to install the app within one or many of your instances. And when you're installing the custom app, you can see details about the app, such as the UI components that the app contains, as well as any configuration values that may be required to use the app. So in this case, for Cloudinary, you can see some configuration values that are required are the cloud name, as well as your Cloudinary API key. Next, let's do a quick code walkthrough so we can see how some things are working behind the scenes. And then we'll do a quick demo on how we can add the custom app ourselves, as well as kind of rendering a form on the front end of an application. So here you can see I have our Agility CMS apps GitHub repo opened up. And again, we have a handful of custom apps available here. The custom app we're going to be looking into today is HubSpot. So when we're on the HubSpot custom app, if you scroll down a little bit, you'll see a full README on how this app works, how you can use the app, how to access your HubSpot access token, as well as running the app locally, and just showing you how you can embed the HubSpot form on the front end of your application. You'll also notice a link here to register the app in Agility. So diving into some code, the first thing we're going to want to look at is inside of our pages directory, and in here is the index.js file. And here is where we're essentially configuring the custom app. So you can see I'm importing my HubSpot component here, and I'm just adding it to an object of components. And just below that is where we have our app config, where we're going to be configuring the app. So you can see we add a name for our app, as well as a version number, as well as a documentation link to provide editors and developers a bit more information on how the app works and what it does. On line 14 here, you can see this is where we can add our configuration values. You can see for the HubSpot custom app, the only configuration value that is required is the HubSpot access token, which is the type string. And then we have our app components. So in a custom app, you can have one or many custom fields. In this case, we just have a single custom field, which is just going to be the HubSpot form renderer. Next up, let's take a look inside of our components directory. And we have a few components here, but the component we want to look at is the HubSpot form.js file. So at the top here, you can see we're importing the Agility app SDK. And we're just setting up some states to get our application ready. And an important note to see here is this first use effect. And inside this use effect is where we're initializing this custom field. And we're just setting up our SDK and some values and configuration values for our app. Below this use effect, you can see we have another use effect. And inside this use effect, we're actually making our API call to receive a list of forms from our HubSpot account. So we're using Axios here to make an API call to our API get forms endpoints. And as a parameter, you can see that we're passing in our access token that was stored in the config values. Once we receive our data, we're just mapping over that data so we can clean it up a bit and only return the fields that are required or necessary in this case, which would be the name of the form, the portal ID, as well as the form ID. On line 55 here, we have an update value function, and this function is going to update the value in the content manager every time we select a new form in our form dropdown. And just below here is where we're outputting our HTML markup. Going back into our components, we can see we also have this select component. And this select component is essentially just a regular HTML select fields. And we're passing in the list of forms as options. So an editor can select the dropdown and select a form from that dropdown that is going to link to one of the forms in their HubSpot accounts. You can also see on this select the onChange value. Every time the select field changes, it's going to update the value in the CMS. And obviously, when you click save or publish, it's going to save that value and send it through our API so then you can use it on the front end of your application. So now that we did a quick deep dive onto the code, we can jump into the content manager and see how we can install and register the custom app.
Quick question for you.
Yeah.
So this is a one-way communication. In other words, we're getting the stuff from HubSpot and storing it in Agility, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Right.
So
Can we also send Agility